Hello and welcome to Newsblitz. I am Aonduna Inga. Before we continue, remember the coronavirus is a deadly disease. Wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds regularly or use a hand sanitizer. Also wear a face mask when outside and maintain physical distancing. President Muhammadu Buhari has presided over a strategic meeting ahead of the opening of Global Education Summit in London. The summit is meant to generate $5 billion from donor countries, organizations, and wealthy individuals for transformation of education globally. Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajiba, who also attended the strategic meeting, said he updated President Buhari on the outcome of the ministerial deliberations of the summit. He commended the president for attending the summit physically, saying his presence in London had attracted recognitions to Nigeria.
Education Summit actually is being convened by the Prime Minister of Britain in collaboration with the President of Kenya. There are donor countries working towards raising about $5 billion to commit to education around the globe. Nigeria has been a strong partner and one of the biggest spenders for education at the moment, and it is in that light that the Federal Ministry of Education, acting on the directive of the President, committed towards being part of this conference. So the President is here to work with his broader heads of government to work out the right allocations that will go to different states, and how to raise the entirety of the funds that are required, and to give Nigeria's commitment towards increased access to school outcomes and all the targets that Nigeria has been set. Many of that you will see in the submission from the President himself, and while I would go ahead we await for the President's own submissions on there, so that you can see a full gamut of what it is that the President has outlined that Nigeria's commitments would be. But interestingly, many of the other countries and all the other partner governors presidents who will be here will be speaking in the same vein to be able to assess as much as they can for their country as well.
Meanwhile, the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, on Thursday announced it has registered more than 60 million Nigerians for the unique national identification number NIN. Records in the National Identity Database, the Commission said that feat could not have been possible without the cooperation of all stakeholders, including the general public. This is contained in a statement signed by the head of corporate communications, Mr. Kayode Adegoke. He noted that the transformation value of the robust and inclusive foundational identification system in today's world cannot be overemphasized. Mr. Adegoke commended the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Pantami, for his leadership in driving the programs of the Commission, emphasized that NIN remains the primary identification for all citizens and legal residents. In the same vein, the Executive Vice Chairman of Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Dambata, says the federal government is set to roll out 5G services across the country. He said the commission had crossed all the T's and dotted the I's and waiting for green light from the federal government to roll out the services soon. The Executive Vice Chairman made the revelation during the public inquiry on draft frequency spectrum fees and pricing and annual operating levy regulations held on Thursday in Abuja. The move, he said, followed series of pre-trial roll exercise earlier carried out by MTN and Airtel networks, which justified the Commission's decision to commence the rollout across the nation. To politics now, the All Progressives Congress APC National Caretaker Committee says the Congress's scheduled for Saturday will go on as scheduled. There were concerns about the Congress after the Supreme Court judgment on the Ondo governorship election. After the judgment, the Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs, Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, advised the APC to halt all preparations and conduct of congresses. But in a statement on Thursday, John Akpan Odohidehi, Secretary of the Caretaker Committee, said the Supreme Court judgment has nothing to do with the committee. Meanwhile, a high court in Owerri, Imo State capital, has declared Chuma Omwerji as the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance in the November 6th governorship election in Anambra State. The court also ruled in favor of Jude Okeke-led leadership of the party. Segun Jumo has more.
The plaintiff in this matter was Chike Dike. He had sought for orders nullifying the Owerri convention of the party and all the actions of Jude Okeke, including the conduct of the primary election for Anambra State and nomination of Mr. Umoji as the candidate of APGA in the November 6th governorship election. Upon the defense of Mr. Okeke, the court dismissed the claims and granted his prayers for consequential orders. First, the affirmation of the validity of the Owerri convention of APGA, his subsequent appointment by the NEC as the acting national chairman, and the primary election of APGA held on 1st of July 2020, as well as the nomination of Mr. Umoji as APGA candidate for the election. He got what he prayed for.
This timely and latest judgment of court has finally buried any contention within APGA regarding the Anambra State election.
This drama has been a few weeks in the making. It leaves the former governor of the central bank, Charles Soludo, with an uncertain future. He had emerged as the candidate of the Victor Oye-led APGA faction. That faction is loyal to the current governor, Willie Obiano. Segun Jumo, Silverbird News 24.
And now to security. The defense headquarters has said its troops operating across various theaters arrested 51 criminals, including terrorists, rescued 69 captives, and neutralized 26 bandits and criminal elements. The acting director of Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyeoku, disclosed this during the briefing on the operational activities of the Armed Forces of Nigeria covering 16th to 29th July 2021. Here's a report. The Nigerian military has been hot on the heels of criminals, bandits and terrorists across the country in various operations. In the last 2 weeks, significant arrests have been made and terrorists killed.
Several terrorists were neutralized within this period. Cumulatively, the operation led to the neutralization of about 16 Boko Haram and Islamic West African province terrorists, as well as 29 of them were arrested, while 40 civilians who were kidnapped were rescued. Furthermore, 11 Boko Haram terrorists and their families, comprising of 5 females, adults, and 12 children, were arrested at FOB Mayanti and Dara Jamel on the 15th of July 2021.
The acting director of the Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Onyeoku, is also given an update on the clampdown of secessionist agitators' hideouts in some parts of the southeast.
On truths based on credible intelligence, conducted a raid operation on a terrorist camp of the group at Akwafu community in Kano East local government area of Enugu State. A combined team of security operatives raided the camp and neutralized some of the members and recovered some arms and ammunition in the process. In another development, a new Eastern Security Network hideout at Ihiala in Anambra State, which is used in the production of explosives, was discovered and destroyed by the security forces.
The battle against those threatening the peace of Nigeria is far from over, but the Nigerian military says it remains resolute in restoring peace across the country. From the Defense Headquarters, Abuja, Aonduna Inga, Silverbird News 24. The Department of State Services (DSS) has defied a court order to produce the 12 detained aides of Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Adeomo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. Justice Obiora Ogwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja had ordered the DSS to produce in court on July 29th the 12 aides who have been in their custody since July 2nd, 2021. But since the DSS failed to bring the aides before the court on Thursday, the case has stalled yet again, with Justice Ogwatu now issuing another order asking the DSS to produce the 12 aides in court on Monday, August 2nd. While giving the order, he stressed that when a court of competent jurisdiction gives an order, such must be respected and obeyed. The Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption has urged Nigerians to obey procedures and protocols at all levels to kick out retail corruption in Nigeria. The call was made by a member of the committee during a virtual stakeholders dialogue on effective strategies to curb retail corruption. Correspondent Aishat Olaoye completes the story.
Retail corruption is a branch of corruption that ordinary people face on a day-to-day basis. This involves bribes in any interaction with government employees, corporations, private sector, or any stakeholders. However, the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption is saying if Nigerians can respect protocols at all levels, retail corruption can be curbed.
Nigerians should learn to respect process and procedures. Cutting corners is one of the reasons why we have retail corruption. Government officials should realize that they have a duty, they have an obligation to serve the people.
One of the stakeholders here believes the solution lies in having adequate checks and balances in all federal government institutions.
If there are checks and balances at the level of all of these institutions to make things easier for citizenry to do, there won't be any need for people to want to bribe others or to want to persuade others through bribery and corruption to get things done.
The representative of the Nigeria Police Force is also saying active participation of the people in community policing can help mitigate retail corruption amongst the people.
Citizens can avail themselves of the services of the community policing system to report infractions and malfeasance of corruption among the workforce.
Corruption remains perhaps the biggest challenge for Nigeria. If it can get rid of it, then Nigeria can finally fulfill its potential. But that remains a big if. From Abuja, Aishat Olaoye, Silverbird News 24.
You're watching Newsblitz, reaching you live from Abuja. We'll be back with more reports after this break. Welcome back. Some lawmakers believe traditional institutions across the country are key to the restoration of peace and unity. The lawmaker representing Plateau North, Senator Stephanus Gang, for instance, says traditional rulers must constantly speak against the issues threatening the unity of Nigeria. Senator Gang and other lawmakers made the call at an event in Abuja. Correspondent Margaret Ogbo has details.
Nigeria is fraught with insecurity which has manifested in different forms including insurgency, banditry and kidnapping. These recent security problems have led to the appreciation of the role of traditional rulers in the country, as most of them have risen to speak against issues threatening the peace of the nation.
The things that are threatening the unity of Nigeria in terms of the governance system that we are witnessing, that our traditional rulers will rise with moral force to speak truth to power and to insist that Nigerians and Nigeria should stand as one.
Not all traditional rulers are accustomed to the laws guiding the country. This is why it is important for them to acquire education.
Education is always what you use to uplift society, and education is so integral and important to each and every one of us, and especially to our young people, and as you can see now, to our not so young people. No matter your status in the society, acquiring more knowledge, updating your knowledge is very, very key. And a well-educated society is a very safe society to a very large extent.
The traditional ruler of Abariba Kingdom, Eze Kalu Ogbu the fourth, is among thousands of Nigerians across the country that were recently called to bar.
The main reason why I went back to school was discovering a lot of discrepancy between customary law and the laws as we know it in Nigeria. So I was challenged to find a way to find a synergy between the two laws, the customary law and the law that we as we know it in Nigeria today.
We have a Supreme Court judgment that says that women should inherit from their parents. And so because he is a lawyer now, if such a situation should arise, I think he will do the right thing by using the law and no longer just tradition.
Many traditional rulers in the country are caught between traditional laws and the laws guiding the nation. For justice to be delivered to the people, they must be properly educated. From Abuja, Margaret Ogbo, Silverbird News 24.
And moving on now, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries says a cumulative investment of $12.6 trillion is required to meet the growing needs of energy by 2045. Secretary General of OPEC Mohammed Bakindo revealed this at the Petroleum Policy Roundtable discussion for oil exporters on the approach to the zero carbon emission economy. Mr. Bakindo explained that Nigeria and other OPEC nations must strategize to ensure economic diversification in the sector. Correspondent Favor Basiotu has more.
The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, still insists that oil will account for more than 27% of the energy mix and will remain the largest contributor until 2045. But it is looking ahead, projecting a cumulative global investment of $12.6 trillion to meet the renewable energy demands of a growing population. If Nigeria must benefit from these, then it must create an investment-friendly environment.
The energy security risk that will result from too little investment would heavily impact both producers and consumers. Oil-producing developing countries like our country, Nigeria, would be particularly hard hit. All OPEC members, including Nigeria, will have to re-strategize to maintain their positions in the new global energy mix, including focusing on economic diversification. Oil has a powerful role to play in this transition, and it should not be swept under the rug based on oil credentials.
Top on the agenda for discourse around the world right now are the twin topics of energy transition and climate change. The deficit in infrastructure and technologies still remains a challenge to developing nations like Nigeria. Stakeholders in the energy sector are seeking enhanced climate action for Nigeria through adequate capacity building.
So within the oil industry, there's so much you can do to reduce the emissions, to make sure that it becomes clean carbon. And for us to be able to do that, we need a knowledge base. To be able to do that, we need to make sure that we have people who can man the technology. We need to look at our educational base and ensure that we really don't get left behind. So in short, I think the key is technology.
The effective implementation of the Petroleum Industry Bill is also of great concern at this roundtable discussion.
Everything depends on implementation strategy, and I think that's where we need to work hard to make sure that implementation is not sloppy. And if they do that and then follow critically the implementation of the fiscal regime, I think investors will be happy coming to Nigeria.
If Nigeria must join the world in this new normal, sufficient support in the areas of finance, technology transfer, and development of human capacity must become a priority. Favor Basiotu, Silverbird News 24.
You're still watching Newsblitz. We'll bring you news from the foreign scene after this break. Stay with us.